4 years of preparation is met with one last opportunity. Welcome everybody to the Halo World Championships. 2025 is the final dance for these teams and players. And for myself, on set, and of course alongside me, Bravo, what a game we have to start off here. Optic Gaming, we're on a little bit of a tough run over the last few events. Get to take on TSM, who certainly will be seeing this as an opportunity.
How about it? Maybe the most important pool play of Halo Infinite, without a doubt. If you think about what's on the line here, you think about the history between these two teams. Let's not forget, as we take a look at the series layout, TSM was the boogeyman that took down Optic Gaming. They are a piece of Optic's loser bracket runs all year long. TSM taking them down 3-2, and Optic Gaming now with a chance to correct history. You saw their trajectory just moments ago. They need to turn this around. We're starting things off on a very important game type for Optic Gaming. It is King of the Hill, a game type that many said lost them the tournament in Charlotte just weeks ago. What have they done in the lead up? What have they done in the preparation to be ready for this? A game type where they took 60% of their season losses at a single tournament in Charlotte. Have they righted the ship? Are they ready in World Championship form? We're underway in game number 1 of the Halo World Championship.
The World Championship is live, and we are starting off in pool play. TSM versus Optic Gaming. And like you said, Andy, set up beautifully. Not just because of the teams, not just because of the series, not just because of the fact it's pool play and Optic Gaming, but like you say, the game types that are in this series certainly will have TSM feeling good. Well, Optic Gaming again, we'll start off with a little bit of Renegade, and why wouldn't you? A little double kill for him to start.
Really is wild to think about just how much is on the line here, like we said. The most important pool play match probably of the entirety of Halo Infinite for Optic Gaming. You've heard in the interviews and a lot of disappointment over these last few tournaments for this team. And it's a chance to once again advance through this tournament in the winner's bracket, but their first test is not only a pool play test, as we said, it is a pool play rematch, but Optic Gaming off to an early lead here in game number 1.
Pretty good start here from Optic, but TSM have managed to, as they like to, keep it a little bit scrappy, just making sure they were contesting that hill, making it uncomfortable for Optic. But Optic now have regained some control. Taulek's going to get the first pick, but Renegade's going to respond. But as last alive, he's going to have to keep responding here. And the pressure is flowing as they flood towards him. TSM will get Optic 4 in the death screen.
Yeah, 4 dead here, 2 spawners already on elevator. We'll see what they can do with this and maybe hold off this next Optic push. In doing so, could maybe even tie up this first hill. We'll see if Druk can hold.
Now going to be challenging through the turbine. Druk going to at least hit a body shot here to slow down the progress, but Renegade again in that kill feed finds a double kill. Opens up the map here for Optic.
Yeah, 2 nice kills uncontested so far. It might even be 3. It's 3 dead. What a response from Optic Gaming. And as we said, TSM able to get numbers on the board there in terms of the scoreboard. However, right away, 4 dead for TSM. It's a staggered 2 dead. This will be an Optic Gaming point.
Now you see Renegade moving forward as Optic do get that first hill under their belts, and it was all due to this man playing off the damage of teammates. A little double kill to open up the map. He gets the 3rd kill as well. And then with that shock rifle moves forward to keep pressure onto TSM's respawners. However, TSM have managed to answer back here, flipping the kills into their favor, and they have complete and utter control of this blue hill.
Yeah, really good work here from TSM off the back of that first hill, already uncontested, as you say, 50% of the way done, and they also get the first pick yet again, so they will maintain that man advantage.
Interesting to look at the slays here as well. Only Renegade on the side of Optic Gaming, who's positive at the moment. We also talk about Taulek and what an impact he has when TSM win games. Well, he's currently at 6-4 at the moment, does fall momentarily as Optic look to break 3 dead for TSM.
Taulek gonna wish that nade went just a little bit, maybe an inch or 2 to the right of the stacks. Instead, he will fall without taking down Formal, and as a result, it's Formal himself. How about the man on your screen? You heard him just days ago saying this very well could be his last tournament. And he told the Green Wall, do not worry about the last few events. I promise you, just watch Worlds. We will not let you down. He knows what's on the line here this weekend. So much riding on the World Championship.
One of the greatest Grand Final World Championship players of all time, regardless of the FPS title, and certainly has proven that again in Halo upon his return. But for Optic Gaming, they've got to be careful here. TSM in control of this tunnel hill once more, and with not too much of it to convert into their favor. We might be looking at a tie game pretty soon here.
Yeah, very nice hold once again. The first pick, it's a straight 3v3 at the moment, but TSM will continue scoring here. Doesn't look at anyone in position, and TSM right back in the game. They win your second hill. We are tied 1-1.
We knew this was going to be a tight series. We knew this was going to be a tight game type. And TSM respond almost immediately after that first hill. Went the way of Optic. Renegade can't quite connect with the headshot, and SoulSnipe's going to take that shock rifle off of him. Tries to bend the shot round the corners there, but doesn't manage to quite get the trajectory he was looking for. 2 dead for Optic again. You can already see the other 2 players under pressure here. Optic losing the Slain battle at the moment and continuing to do so as SoulSnipe can't get the kills, but certainly is outputting some great damage.
Yeah, great damage indeed. Great discipline from SoulSnipe there. Just gets the damage and just scurries back. Not only does that, also blocks any elevator spawns as well. Here comes the push. Keep an eye on the kill feed. Important moment here in the game.
Bound gets that first kill. Going to be exchanged immediately though. Lqgend finds another, and now Lqgend is going to fly forward. The MVP from last year's World Championship. Lqgend will find the double kill, and TSM have been broken. Manny's just come off the respawn. It was a fresh 4 dead for TSM as Optic will take control of the hill.
See what Lqgend can do here now.
When we come back,
good damage and an important kill that will maintain just a little bit of map advantage at the moment. Take a look at his numbers here. He's 8-4 to start things off, and double positive at this stage of the game. A lot of promise from Lqgend, and let's talk about how good he looked at the complexity warm-up as well. A killing spree for him, but popping off really impressive numbers just last weekend in that online tournament that they were able to take and get a little bit of momentum. We'll see if he can do that again here, but they're 2 dead at the moment.
Yeah, speaking of momentum, by the way, Lqgend, when we checked in about a minute or so ago, was essentially tied up. He was about even on his kill-death ratio, so that's the kind of run he just went on. But the battle for the elevator spawns is continuing here. Both teams trying to wrangle that spawn away so they can control this hill a little bit more comfortably. TSM 2 dead, Optic 2 dead, but Taulek inside of this hill at the moment trying to bait these nades out from Optic Gaming with this camo in his hands. And Optic don't really know what to do here. It looks like they're a little bit lost.
Love the discipline from Taulek. Just ping, ping, ping. Avoids the nades, as you said, and jumps right back in with the camo. They will continue scoring. And right now, a man advantage by just a second. 2 dead, and if they're able to get this kill in batteries, this will be huge as well. Just Manny trying to track it down. Oh, what fantastic bait in the end. Manny's make sure to get that kill. That will be cleaned up. So still 2 dead, and they have a little bit of a slight lead here on your 3rd hill, but man, how this game is slowed down. You feel like the game is riding on this 3rd hill.
You certainly do indeed. Shock rifle coming up as well. Formal's going to get the opening pick though with a sticky grenade, but Bound's going to lose his individual fight. 2 players from Optic trying to flood towards Taulek's position, and Renegade will play off that damage once more, but as last alive now, Renegade, even though he's 15-8, he's going to have to wait for the rest of Optic Gaming to get back on the map before he even thinks about pushing forward. Good nades coming in from TSM, means that Renegade is now trapped, and TSM, and in the meantime, are sat inside of this hill, and if they get this, which they do, there's only 2 minutes left in this game for Optic to find a way to tie it up.
What a series of plays here as TSM takes the lead. Druk makes sure to flush out Renegade. Fantastic pre-nades from the pipes. That was the key there. He hits the pre-nades, the team had the help, and Druk comes in and flushes out the kill. And what did we say? This game type, all of a sudden this season, after being 13-2 in King of the Hill, has been trouble for Optic Gaming. And if things stay the same, if this score stays the same, we could see TSM taking game number 1. Can they hold for the last 1 minute and 45?
1 minute 45, and as we know this hill as well, you're so vulnerable when you stand inside of that point. So difficult to be completely in control of it at any point. As Optic Gaming will find themselves 3 dead once more, and time off the clock here for TSM. That's got to be the play call for TSM right now. Keep Optic out of the hill. Don't worry about converting it. Just make sure you're winning these fights.
And let's not forget, for TSM, it was all about stealing 1 objective game. As you heard the desk say, if they can steal 1 objective game, as by the way, Bound 4-14 as he takes his 14th death. Uncharacteristic from him. TSM, the mission was always to take 1 of these objective games, as they have really good records in both Slayers in this series. We'll see if they can close it out here. 60 seconds left.
Here comes Renegade though. He'll find 1. 2 dead for TSM momentarily. Formal stands inside of that hill. Camo is coming up, so Optic a little bit split on what they have to do here, but it looks like they've managed to do both things they had to do. 1, get hill time. Keep TSM out of the hill. Secondary, get that camo. The Shroud went down and Renegade managed to grab it. So Optic are starting to put the pieces together here. And even though TSM are trying to flush them out of the back of blue, there's an opportunity to strike for Optic.
2v2 for just a moment. Big battles here happening in back lines. 3 dead for TSM at a pivotal moment in the game. Optic Gaming now SoulSnipe.
All right, everyone, welcome.
A very
back.
important kill and does not trade, by the way. That's going to keep things interesting, but Bound makes sure to clean up.
Oh,
no, Bound gets 2. And the double kill that you just saw on that death screen could be the difference maker in this game.
Statistics don't show everything, right? That double kill from Bound might have just saved Optic. An individual fight, he had no right in winning, but he comes out of that situation with a double kill to his name, and now he has hill time as well. TSM trying to force Optic Gaming out of this hill, but look at the bottom of your screen. Optic just need a few more pixels to tie this up.
Cloud9 should be able to even peek this just easily. Gonna step right back in, and with that, he will do it. Tied up 2-2 here, and 3 dead off of the point as well. Optic Gaming with late game composure and resilience, and with 40 seconds left, could be sending us certainly into OT.
Yeah, this is looking like an OT sudden death situation. Next hill will win. SoulSnipe's going to fly through though, clears upbound. 2 dead here for Optic Gaming. TSM has stood inside of this hill, but this hill is so difficult, as we love to say, to control. Former's going to grab that next shock rifle and start to go to work. He grapples it back into his hands, and he finds himself some prey.
One thing Formal said, you might have caught in the interview as well, if I want to do anything, I want to leave this building knowing that I couldn't have done anything more this weekend. It's a very important shot. However, with that done now, it's going to be 3 dead for Optic Gaming for just a moment.
That'll be taken down as well. 3 dead for Optic, and TSM will break once again. And we have to give so much credit to Optic Gaming here. They have shown so much resilience, as have Optic. It's been back and forth between both of these teams, but it's TSM now who are closing in on stealing this game away. The shock rifle will be thrown off the map. 20 seconds left on the game clock. TSM in full control of the bottom middle hill.
2 dead right here. Big important kill. 3 dead. Manny, last player alive, so needs to make sure he makes a very important play here. Whether it's damage or positioning, he knows he has to jump in here. We're about moments away from being tied here. Where does this camo go?
Camo goes to Formal. Can he stay alive through the nades, through the shrapnel, through the fire that is at his feet? Druk out of nowhere gets the stick, and Optic are 3 dead, and TSM stand inside of that hill.
Unbelievable. What a stick there. Moments away.
TSM get the point. TSM go into the lead, and with 15 seconds left, surely Optic don't have the time required if they go 3 dead once more to force this game to go on any longer. 4 dead for Optic, 10 seconds left on the game clock, and TSM look like they're about to steal this.
Has to be a Hail Mary from Optic. Can they jump in the hill?
I don't think anyone's close enough. I think Optic know this is done. It will have to be a picture-perfect push as Renegade steps inside. But SoulSnipe will clear him out, and Optic will fall, and TSM will win game 1 here in pool play at the Halo World Championships.
Oh boy. And anyone who has studied tournament history this year and looked at this series, you had a lot to be excited about, especially if you were a TSM fan. We knew that that game 1 King of the Hill was going to be a pivotal game type, a worrisome game type for Optic Gaming. And TSM proving that not only were they up to the fight in that game type, but also up and ready for a World Championship Optic Gaming. As you can see, stern faces on the players of Optic Gaming. Not surprising to see. And we are witnessing once again Optic dropping game number 1 in pool play.
We focused on that game type and this series for a reason, in the build up to this event. A number of reasons as we look past some of the moments of that last game. The story was always Optic and pool play, right? How are they going to perform? That's where their failings have been in the tournaments, that they haven't really managed to go the distance. TSM have been a bogey team in pool play. We've mentioned they've already lost to TSM in pools. The game type, a bogey game type back in Charlotte after having a phenomenal record previously, before that event. Now we move to game 2, and oh my Optic Slayer woes, that has been the game type Slayer that has cost them tournaments all year long.
And even though Optic Gaming finds a way to tie that game 2-2, and by the way, had shock and first pick, leading into what would be the final hill of the game, TSM with fantastic game management, they take game number 1, 3-2, over Optic Gaming, furthering Optic's losses in King of the Hill late in the season, and that sets us up for Slayer Origin. The map records here are very important. Optic Gaming is only 5-5, a neutral record on this game type on the year. For TSM, it's a 3-1 winning record on Slayer Origin.
We'll take a look at some of those Slayer stats in more detail here. This is the season overall, 30 kills and 22 for Optic Gaming, 17 and 11. The win percentage is higher for TSM. They are ahead of Optic Gaming in the Slayer rankings this season. But like you said, it's the game type specifically here, the map specifically here, that skews those stats even further into the side of TSM. Going one up in the series, seeing this as a game two, knowing you're 3-1, and Optic at 5-5, it's an opportunity to really strike here for TSM.
And it's like you and I talked about before the event. TSM can come into this series knowing they've already taken down Optic Gaming, knowing that Optic Gaming has had a troubled history with pool play all year long with nothing to lose. And like we said, if you look at these game types, overall with season records, the objective game types skewed towards Optic. However, the Slayers much either favorable or more neutral towards TSM. TSM knew that the mission was always take one objective, and we have a great chance in this series. Now that they've done that, and you think about the players on TSM, you think about years ago, TSM has something special, and I mean these 4 players specifically, something special at the World Championship. Deep runs from them, whether they're going through the winner's bracket or the elimination bracket, something about these 4 players, they have a depth and a resilience that they find at the World Championship that's really unlike any other team.
I would agree with you. They are the bogey team of the Halo World Championships. And you add on top of the fact that this is the final Halo World Championships for Halo Infinite, everybody who's in the venue knows that. Every player, every team will feel that. So to step on the main stage, first series of the Halo World Championships, seeing those game types, knowing that Optic are vulnerable in pools, TSM have a massive opportunity. But this was always going to be a match where we were going to learn about both teams. This was always going to be a matchup where we learned if Optic were looking like they could be in World Championship form. So even though it's only one game done and the records don't favor the Green Wall in this game too, are Optic going to teach us all a lesson here in this second map of the series?
You heard Formal say it as well, that he said to his teammates, listen, if this is the end of the road for Formal and Halo, I'm giving you all I have. How deep can they dig? Let's not forget, in Charlotte, they struggled in pool play and then had their lowest placing in over 2 years of competitive Halo. How do they make sure that history does not repeat itself here? On the other side, can TSM ride this momentum? We're underway here in game number 2. Right now, TSM leading the series 1-0.
First pick is going to go the way of TSM. 2 dead on either side, though, as very quickly things get tied up. Druk just missed the rockets, though. Oh, and it's going to cost him. Oh, boy, is that going to cost him. Only one kill gets picked up in the end, which that means TSM get away with it. But when you're looking at weapons, when you're looking at big game players, when you're looking at a man who has made a name for himself in this title, you probably want it in the hands of Lqgend. Already hit one shot, hits another body, Renegade cleans that up, and Optic will have a 2-kill advantage.
Small lead here, should be even extended now to 7-4. It is indeed. And if you've been watching this season, you know that the topic for Optic Gaming all year long has been Slayer, right? It's been how is Slayer costing them tournaments. If they win Slayers, they seem to win tournaments. If they lose the game type, they leave the building without a first place trophy. This was always going to be a very important game type for them, and they need to turn it on here in game number 2 and make sure they don't go down 2-0.
Well, early in the game, but with the sniper in his hands, 0 deaths. Lqgend has a chance to extend this lead. We know how important it is to control this S7. And how important it is to hit headshots like that onto Manny. It's 3 dead for TSM. Taulek's last alive. Lqgend's going to challenge him. Leaves that to his teammate, and TSM find themselves 4 dead. Optic Gaming have woken up. It's 12-6.
Big start here, as you say. Lqgend not even taken down yet. Love the discipline that we've seen from him as well. Snipe ammo will finally run out for him, but not before he goes 3-0 and make sure that they extend their lead, nearly double their opponents here. But that will be brought back just a bit with 2 kills for the side of TSM. It's now 13-9.
It's always important to keep into context where these leads are coming from, right? You just saw Optic get the first snipe. 12-6 feels amazing, feels impressive, but then when that snipe ammo just starts to disappear and you find yourself with just a bandit in hand, that's when the gap can close again and we start to build towards that next cycle of power weapons. Speaking of which, rockets are going to be up next in around 20 seconds or so in this game.
A lot of the key for success for Optic Gaming is making sure that the work and the distribution of the load is spread evenly across the team. In these last few events, it's been about Renegade, right? Renegade popping off and putting up numbers that have been his career best. But on the side of Optic Gaming, it needs to be big numbers across the board. Unsurprisingly, though, it is Renegade leading the team yet again at 6-3.
So TSM have just brought this back a little bit here. Interested to see where this rockets will fall. Sniper rifle also coming up in 20 seconds. TSM making an early push towards that snipe side of the map, and Taulek Beautiful kill, and finds a second one bottom middle as well. Renegade will find those rockets, fires one, and will only pick up one kill. As Bound tries to control this snipe side, this is such a pivotal moment. It feels like not just in the game, but maybe in the series already, with this S7 popping up.
This is getting nervy, and anyone who's played enough competitive Halo knows what I mean. When this game is within 5, it feels like TSM has stayed close, and TSM's one of the best teams that if they keep a Slayer close, they generally have big success in the game type. Let's also not forget their late kind of Slayer records as well. If we look at their close Slayer records within 5 kills, they're 6-3, whereas Optic is 6-15. If this thing stays close, this could be trouble, but Formal now heating up with the sniper rifle as they now lead by 7.
SoulSnipe! Soul's collected here by Formal. Beautiful falling shot from Formal to find the headshot. Taulek might be next, he peeks. No lessons this time around though. Manny comes in and manages to pick up a double kill. So even though one impressive shot is hit there by Formal, TSM overwhelmed the snipe side, and TSM have Optic 3 dead. 5 kills the difference between the two teams, but with 3 bullets left in this sniper rifle, Manny has the chance to pull that even closer.
If we know anything about this game type and these two teams, this thing is far from over. Might still be a 5-kill game, but as I said, TSM has done very well to keep this game as close as they have. We should check in though, Bound with a recent spree, and now 9-7. Formal also with 9 kills on the board, so big stretches from both Formal and Bound over these last few minutes of play.
Really big push this from Optic Gaming. 2 dead for TSM. No one's fallen on the side of Optic Gaming. If they can keep those numbers and find the remaining members of TSM, this is where you're going to see that lead just start to widen. The gap starts to really feel like it could be getting away from you for TSM in these kind of situations. And Optic are keeping their foot on the gas here. Good damage from Formal. Legend's going to move in to clean that up. And TSM got to be very careful here, Andy. You can see that Optic are just starting to flow as TSM will find themselves 3 dead.
Oh man, might even be staggered 4 dead as well. Just really good damage, as you say, and everything that we just saw from Formal. He goes front diving board, front base, just picks off a lot of damage, goes fountain, gets more damage, stays alive, front base, finally taken down, but not before they're up by 9 here. Really nice stretch from Formal and all of Optic Gaming.
Power weapons are coming up. It's a great run from Optic, but this is the chance for TSM now to swing the pendulum back in their favor. First pick goes to TSM. Nades are being used up by the respawn in Optic Gaming. Can SoulSnipe put these to use? A lot of pressure on his shoulders right now to connect with not just one, but any would have been good as Formal finds a double.
The ghost of Chris Puckett awoken somewhere deep within Origin as that rocket goes straight into the cliffside and does not connect. And really, it could have been such a difference maker. Look at this game now. It could have been a 5-kill game. Instead, it's still a 7-kill lead for Optic.
Bound finds one as well. Bound having a really good game here, by the way. 13-9, a little bit of a shaky game one. For a man who's certainly been under the microscope after the last performance back in Charlotte for Optic Gaming, but here certainly performing like we would expect. Renegade moving into bottom middle now, tries to clean up this damage on Manny, trying to be a nuisance, Manny, but even though the trades are coming in here for TSM, the trades aren't really good enough at this point. TSM need to go on a run, and with Bound continuing to pick up kills, and that sniper rifle coming up. TSM need to get this S7, otherwise this could be game Optic in a tight series.
Ooh, Optic also registers both kills 45 and 46. It felt like it was still within reason for TSM, but now with Lqgend and the sniper and the game in his hands, this might be the last few kills of the game.
Looking across the stats for Optic, not really anything to be disappointed about. Very rare. 3 missed shots there from Lqgend, however, puts Optic 3 dead. Even though they only need 2, Bound as last alive has to just slow the pace down a second.
As you say, should be just a moment of patience here from Bound to just get the damage he needs on the map, and the team will collapse. And right now, here comes a side push, 49.
Trades are good. Bound gets the 50th, and Optic Gaming will rewrite the record books a little bit here on Origin. They win game number 2 of the series. And now find themselves tied up 1-1. And it just felt like things started to click in that mid-game for Optic. The bait and switch into finishing each other's kills with no over-committing for kills. And Optic Slayer woes put on the back burner for now as they tie it up by taking Slayer Origin.
And let's not forget, as you say, really writing the direction of this series there in more ways than one, not just in the series score, but as we said, that's a game type with TSM with a season-winning record and Optic Gaming neutral, so that will now flip positive for them, Slayer Origin. But much more importantly, it will tie the series at 1-1, and it also kind of ensures that Optic Gaming is focusing. As we said, that game was winning 6 in the late game, and statistically, TSM would come back and win those Slayers, especially over Optic Gaming. As we said, a terrible close game, a close Slayer record, games within 5 kills. So instead, Optic Gaming, they take a moment to breathe, regain their composure. They tie the series 1-1. And you know what? I had a feeling we'd be going the distance with this one. I think a lot of people did. And how fitting now, tied up going into game number 3.
A great response from Optic leaves us here, 1-1. As we head now into a game type where Optic Gaming will feel extremely confident, and even the most pessimistic of Optic Gaming fans should feel extremely confident as well. When you're looking at a game type, when you're looking at a map mode, this is one of the most impressive records in the entirety of the Halo Championship Series. This season, Optic have dominated when it comes to live fire oddball.
9-0 in the game type, undefeated on the entire year. And if you're an Optic Gaming fan or an Optic Gaming player, you're probably pretty happy to see this game neatly seated in game number 3 of that series layout, because a certain go-ahead opportunity, and not just an opportunity, but really a game type that should be in their favor at the conclusion of these 2 rounds.
I mean, if you compare it to the record of TSM as well, it's not just how great Optic are, it's how worrying it is for TSM. They're 0-3 in this game type so far this season. So you add all of that up, there's a weird part of me that's thinking, well, I mean, maybe this is an opportunity and you just see something crazy because it's the Halo World Championships, but every single bit of data that we have here would suggest that Optic should, and I'll say should, be 2-1 up come the end of this live fire off.
Tells you just how important that Slayer was as well for Optic to take it, to ensure that they don't have their backs against the wall, that instead they're tied 1-1 going into such a favorable game type, as you say, for them historically. Take a look at some of the stats here for Optic Gaming. Hot hands, oddball dominance all year long.
I mean, just look at the right side, don't worry about the left. When you're looking at rankings, first.
21 map win streak. The last time they lost this game type was to Nemesis on April 18th.
I don't know what year that was either, that's the thing.
1999. Unbelievable from this team, and especially when you think about the struggles that Optic Gaming, the trials, the tribulations that Optic Gaming has had all year long. Otherwise, it's pretty remarkable that these 4 players have been so dominant in oddball in a way that teams really, you think back to Quadrant and Strongholds, right? There's not many other examples within Halo Infinite or even competitive Halo history where a single team has been so dominant on a game type, but not necessarily taking every championship. See what they can do here in game number 3.
And isn't it a great indication of the hot and cold of Optic Gaming so far this season? Because you look at oddball as a game type, and we'll talk about oddball as a game type as commentators, analysts, and it's the game type which you need to get the most right as a team. It is
so many variables.
Constantly a thought process, winning individual fights, timing power-ups, moving that oddball, collecting ball time, having less guns up at times on the map because you are gathering that objective time, having to think about rotates, well, everything that you need to be a good Halo player, a good Halo team, is so involved in this game type, and the dynamic nature of it, the fact that there isn't going to be a consistent spawn in one place. You are going to have to think about where you are spawning your opponents. Are you trying to split? So all of these kind of things come in. So to have that kind of record is like frustrating, I imagine, for Optic, because they're like, well, this is the game type which most goes into, and we're brilliant at it. So where are the gaps in other game types? It's such an interesting kind of, I guess, a little bit of dynamic for them to think about,
It really is, and you know what's interesting too, is take a look at the series layout so far. By the way, if you're just joining us here for day 1 of the Halo World Championship, whether you're in the room with us or joining from around the world, fantastic to have you with us. It is going to be a historic weekend of competitive Halo, and we are starting off here with a special edition banger rematch. It's Optic Gaming and TSM, and if you didn't catch it earlier this year, TSM did take down Optic Gaming in pool play, so this is one that Optic Gaming would not have taken lightly. We're perfectly tied 1-1 going into game number 3, but back to that game type, Mark. Another thing, if you just showed me those stats alone and hadn't showed me the stats from the rest of the year, and you said, hey, Optic Gaming leads in all these categories, they haven't lost this game type since April, and it's oddball, anyone, as you were alluding to, would speculate that they are the best team in the league, right? It's very unlikely that a team that is doing all of these things so well, all of the variables, all the demands of professional Halo, positions, rotations, timing, map awareness, everything, and of course the kills and the limbs that come along with it. It is a fascinating statistic And we'll have to see if they're able to not only take the momentum from this game type into the rest of the series, but also the rest of the tournament as well.
Yeah, can they go 10-0? Can they keep the record perfect and bank this game type? Maybe for a little bit later in the tournament, should it rear its head in a big series that really will determine the fate of Optic Gaming. For TSM though, it feels like a free roll of the dice here. When your record's terrible and your opponent's is brilliant, well, you got to lose. You've got to fly at them. You've got to see if you could really pull off an upset here. If there's any team in the venue that you would associate the word upset with, it's probably this TSM roster. We're heading into live fight hardball here. You haven't seen hardball before. You're going to win a couple of rounds of it before you can call the game your own. I have a feeling we're going to see some big plays in this one, Andy.
I think so too. All eyes on this entire Optic Gaming roster. As we said, how do they distribute the work across this team? And we're underway here in game number 3, tied up 1-1 with TSM and Optic Gaming.
Starting off with Formal, who certainly introduced himself to everybody in the Halo Championship series from this very position in a World Championship final with a Kill-tacular in a Slayer game type not so long ago. But Formal now, it's the start of a new chapter in his story, and maybe the final chapter as well. But now Optic Gaming just slowing things down. It's been a very cautious start, actually, just by both teams. Finally, TSM find a couple of kills. Optic are 2 dead. Formal has to turn his attention to just denying this camo pickup from TSM.
Nice work here. Druk QT's away to avoid that nade, and baits and switches on a really nice job on cuts. That's going to force Formal all the way back bottom middle. That should be a clean camo grab for the side of TSM.
Look how frustrating that Optic are being, though. Optic keep touching that oddball, keeping it in their possession. They're like, okay, you still got to go for the camo, but just remember this is an oddball game type. Just remember you're still going to come and get this thing. Druk should be next up for Formal. It's been a really good start for him. Grabs that F7. Didn't connect this time around, and the repulse will not connect enough for him to value his life here. SoulSnipe's going to fly out on Lqgend here. Narrowly misses that headshot, hits the body, but Lqgend will take him down.
As you said, really interesting slow start. Only 5 points on the board so far, but a few things to highlight off that opening rush. That should have been the clean TSM camo grab, but as you said, Optic had really good pressure from cuts as well as dummies to not just prevent that camo, but even grab or burn, and as a result, it's just a small Optic Gaming lead here. Very cautious start from both teams, and you can tell how much is on the line in this pool play series without a doubt.
2 different Optic ball will be played by Bound off the back of green, so a reset on the map for the objective. Druk has to weigh out a couple of grenades. Oh, he did not connect on that one, and that's going to cost him. A little bit of a rush beat down, a little bit of a panic situation there for Druk. And that'll leave TSM momentarily 3 dead. That'll be 4 dead. Excuse me. It'll be Taulek who picks up that kill. Lqgend should have a very comfortable time here, as TSM are fighting off the respawn as he just grabs more objective time. 26 points and rising already on the board here for Optic.
And how good is Optic with the transitional holds? We talked a lot about them these past few tournaments. You're always going to see them grabbing this ball on this map and holding right around camo cuts in between dummy door and key door. Beautiful transitional setup, which depending on the pressure on the map allows them to really get away with any rotation they want. 4 dead, great trade from Formal. That will allow them once again to now move that transitional hold likely back to scoreboard here.
I was going to say, look how quickly Renegade's on the spawn as well. He's already gone behind Manny. His first respawner.
Rotate.
Perfect sim. As the ball is, like you say, rotated to where that kill's happened. So, Optic Gaming, brilliant at the moment. You're seeing how good they can be. And with Bound picking up this next camo as well, this is going to be a tough job for TSM to break this.
How obnoxious is this Bound? Just look. You can't find him, you can't see him. He is picking apart TSM. Even though he gets repulsed here. Might get away with murder in the end. He does not trade. 2v2 on the map, but still an uncontested 52-point lead for Optic Gaming. It has been very slow, very methodical, and fantastic game control from Optic.
I put a couple of these missed beatdowns down to just transitioning back to land, we should say. We're going to get that online super lunge that we do sometimes see. But over 60 points already on the board, with Lqgend finding the next sniper rifle. TSM have really been down when it comes to not just objective time, but also when you're looking at power-ups and weaponry as well. It really has been controlled superbly here by Optic Gaming. Finally, Taulek's going to get one, but he's going to have to hit some big shots here.
No play ball, and Renegade somehow, despite 3 separate and now going to be a 4th player pushing. Renegade finally plays the ball. Renegade gets an extra 25 seconds or so and is still alive. Unbelievable play from Renegade here. Oh!
Still alive. Gets that time, takes the kill, picks the second one up as well. And it takes 2 players from TSM to finally flush him out. And in the meantime, Optic just rotate away again.
As we said, there were 3 separate players and then a 4th staggered push that came in. Look at the scoreboard. 86-0. And you are seeing what we talked about in the stat line. Perfect play from Optic Gaming.
TSM had to up the pace there, otherwise we've been in the round going over to Optic Gaming. They do increase that pace. They do pick up a couple of kills, but they haven't even got their hands on the oddball as yet. TSM have not got near enough to the oddball to pick it up. Think about that for a second. This round has been completely dominated by Optic Gaming.
Optic showing us and reminding us what they're capable of. 4 dead yet again for TSM. This very likely could be the final hold unless Druk is able to hit some god nades bottom mid. We are seeing what Optic Gaming is capable of when they are firing on all cylinders. 10 points to go in round 1.
Formal might be able to win it here, or should be able to win it here, because Bound and Renegade have just found a couple of kills. They're going to come and support their teammate. Get nice and cozy with Formal, as Formal looks to just add an extra kill as the points tick in the favor of Optic Gaming. It is a dominant result in round number 1. Optic Gaming up by 1.
As you say, perfect play from Optic Gaming. There's a reason they have the record they have in this game type. There's a reason they're undefeated in live fire oddball, and they were just reminding us how talented they are in this game type. Let's not forget, this has been a close series until that round.
And Optic Gaming are allowed to pick up the sniper rifle once again. 3 dead for TSM. Lqgend is going hunting. Camo coming up as well. Look at the split on the map as immediately they'll move that oddball back off the kills. And Lqgend gets a lot of information, but does take a lot of damage as well, as the grenades will break the shields and also tickle the health. But Lqgend stays alive long enough to put this S7 back into his hands and have the potential to line up some shots. Can't quite connect here. Good pressure from TSM.
Oh, man, look at how much of a distraction
I'll
he
stay
was.
alive, you kill everything.
Yep, he just stays alive, right? Avoids those nades, avoids those shots, retreats to back green, even pokes once more, brings out more players, and that just tees them all up for Optic Gaming to take them down. They will continue scoring here, and Optic Gaming, what a performance once again off the opening rush of round number 2. Oh boy.
If you saw Taulek for a second, Lqgend saw him even longer.
4 dead.
4 dead for TSM, 20 points on the board already, but that's going to turn into at least 35 or so by the time that TSM even get back on the map here. 11-6 for the Frenchman at the moment. 46 seconds of objective time. He really is one of the most well-rounded players you could ever ask for.
Oh, Lqgend! Surgical precision from the Frenchman. 3 dead yet again. Optic leading by 40, and you get the feeling on TSM.
No! He hit in the back! He hit Taulek in the back! And for a second there, Lqgend was on the precipice of one of the greatest plays that we've seen at
in the game.
Championship.
In the game, unbelievable. And what I was trying to say, if Lqgend would have stopped hitting those pesky headshots, it feels like on the side of TSM, they're kind of thinking we probably should have won that game too slightly.
TSM have got 5 points.
They touched the ball.
That's a very important process that you have to go through to get back into this game. Optic Gaming find themselves 2 dead, and TSM will grab a little bit more ball time, but Mount flies through, takes down the ball carrier closest to that objective, so they'll be able to get it scrappy here. Optic Gaming, they'll be able to keep getting up on the map. Taulek does have that QT, but it's out in the open. Renegade finds a kill. SoulSnipe and Taulek, though, they find kills for themselves, both with sticky grenades.
What happens to Camo here? Lqgend last player alive. He's going to need to get some key damage and stay alive to make sure Optic can make a play here. And Lqgend, as the last player alive, simply goes C-plat and allows the way for Formal to pick up the Camo as the individual player there. Huge, huge play. And once again, showing big gaps in TSM setup.
Yeah, Lqgend's job there, he recognized, was just keep pressure. Keep TSM where they are. Don't have to die, don't have to kill. Just keep them back there. Allow TSM no space whatsoever to move up the map. And allow Formal to grab this Camo. Now, the attention has to be turned back to Formal on what he does with this, because TSM, for the fact that they got absolutely bopped in game number 1, are fighting back here in round number 2.
Enemy has the ball.
And they have now gone into a lead, so it's a momentary, slender lead, but for what has looked like a very, very rough few moments and few minutes for TSM, they are showing some good resilience here.
A little bit of camo left for Formal as well. Finally, it will dissipate, but Sniper's still in hand and quite a lot of shots at his disposal. Optic Gaming will go back into the lead, see if they can extend even further here off of big damage and kills from Formal.
Enemy halfway to victory.
Druk finds the first pick, though. Renegade, by the way, in this game, 19-10, with most ball time for Optic Gaming. Once again, doing everything that he can. Not sure if that sniper stayed on or if it just trickled off the edge of the map.
Unless it was caught. There was an angle with that sniper play. It was caught! It was caught!
It was caught! Yep, Manny found it.
I was a bit. You could tell by the trajectory in Formal's death cam that snipe didn't get the full toss they wanted it, and it could have been grabbed. Manny actually grabs it and maybe keeps TSM in the game.
Yeah, this is now needs to be put to work here by Manny, and he finds 2 kills with that S7. Optic came in 3 dead. The lead still in Optic's favor in the last 20 seconds or so. They have held that odd ball. But Druk is going to get the chance to grab that sniper, recycle it back to the side of TSM here, and now Optic have to run through the gauntlet, and they've got a sniper rifle looking at them.
And QT as well. Formal going to challenge that. Oh, and Druk does one better. Double QT back to get the kill.
Lqgend going to challenge him. Both players no shields. Druk needs to stay alive here. Wait for the help to come in from a teammate. Lqgend still no shields. Bound were taken down. Finally, Lqgend will fall as well, and Optic Gaming will momentarily 3 dead. Camo coming up as well as TSM go back into a lead. They will not die here, TSM. They are fighting tooth and nail for every point here.
What a different round it's been here as they'll get another kill. Still in the lead. Good damage. Camo, though, is going to be big here at the 70-point mark. 3 dead. SoulSnipe is your last player alive. It should be a free Optic Camo as well. But the pressure now coming in from Taulek. Lqgend once again in the right place. Picture perfect from Lqgend. Yes, he will be taken down. No trade. However, much more importantly, he paves the way for an Optic Gaming camo grab, and they go into the lead yet again.
This is what we talk about when stats don't show everything. Renegade gets a free camo because Lqgend goes 0-1 in his fight, but he knew how important it was to just delay the push once again from TSM. And now with Optic Gaming back into the lead, Renegade with camo in his hands, Optic might be closing in on a Game 3 victory here. That'll do it.
See him. Killing spree, 93 points on the board, moments away here for Optic Gaming.
SoulSnipe should go down, but no, he wins the individual fight. He keeps TSM with a chance of turning this round into their favor. Optic Gaming, 2 is still in the death screen, but have managed to spawn in time to get an LOS on that upper ring spawn. SoulSnipe finds the next sniper, can't connect with it. And now Bound has taken away a huge, huge swing opportunity by taking that sniper out of their hands.
3 dead here, last player alive, bottom middle, doesn't even need to grab it. Lqgend will get the final points on the board. It's calm, it is cool, it is composed from Optic Gaming, as they will take game number 3 as expected, but a little bit of late round 2 resilience from TSM made the game type a little more interesting, but let's be honest, it was all Optic Gaming all the way. They are now 10-0 on live fire oddball dominance from them, and they will now take the series lead off of back-to-back wins.
No better feeling as a team to have a record at the end of a season that finishes with 0 losses. That's where Optic Gaming find themselves right now on live fire oddball. 10-0, perfect across the season. And a game type that they certainly can rely on. We'll take a look at some of the stats from that game. I mentioned Renegade. Well, he's doing it again here, Andy. 26 and 13 for Renegade.
Just shy of 7K damage from Renegade. It feels like when Optic Gaming is winning tournaments, Renegade is in Renegade mode indeed. And with what will be the last Halo World Championship for Halo Infinite, you feel like he's going to make sure that's the case here as well. Take a look at the damage here from all of Optic Gaming. 3 players on 6K. As we said, Renegade just shy of 7K.
Yeah, only 1 player from TSM breaking 6K. Tells you a lot about where the damage was being done, who was on the back foot, and who was really just completely and utterly in control of that game type. These are some of the highlights from it here. A few whip beatdowns early on. But things started to click here. This play from Bound, by the way, so well calculated. And this one from Renegade, this is the one you look back on and like in a VOD review from TSM. It's like, we made a mistake there. We made a mistake. Can't let Renegade do this.
Exactly. And really, you can't let Optic Gaming get away with what they were doing. This, by the way, was almost the craziest triple.
If he would have got the bounce snipe.
Almost. Important here from Formal as well. Big stretch from him. This is a pivotal moment. SoulSnipe last player alive paves the way for a camo grab. Also, I love Bound did not. That's a lot. The decisions that Bound had to make at the end of the game. He could have probably gotten away with an attempted ball grab throwing back to Rat Tunnel, which wouldn't have been a terrible play, but instead Bound goes cuts and just gets help. He gets help with camo, help with dummies. They get their kills 1 by 1, and they very calmly and cleanly win the game. Optic Gaming in the lead for the first time in the series off of back-to-back wins. They are now 1 game away from closing out the series.
We look at map records, we look at Neutral Bomb Aquarius. much more comfortable for Optic Gaming once again. Their assault record, pretty damn good here on Aquarius. 6-1 across the season. Not perfect, but pretty close to it. When you look at the other side as well, for TSM, it's a 2-2 record. And for these, you're looking at reasons that contribute towards the success for Optic Gaming. It's the Bomb Buddies.
You've heard of the Bash Brothers. These are the Bomb Buddies. Amazing stats from both of them here on Neutral Bomb. 1.24 from Bound, but a 1.42 even from Renegade. Look at the damage differential per minute. Just absolutely out-damaging anyone who's coming near them minute after minute of gameplay. And as you said, that adds up in a big way on the scoreboard. 6-1 on Aqua Assault. So if we are to believe the statistics, which so far have not led us astray in this series in terms of historical records and the way each game type looked like it would go, Optic Gaming with the edge statistically. The question is, does TSM have one more surprise in store in this series? Can they stay alive and force a game number 5?
And if they do, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Well, let me tell you, we've got some things to tell you if we go game 5. For now, it's game 4, which does favor Optic Gaming, and this would be the great start to the tournament that they were hoping for. We knew that this matchup was going to be tough for Optic. But coming out of it with a 3-1, I think if you offered that at the start of the day, Optic would have said, yeah, we'll take that.
You go back to Formal's interview just days ago with Hex, and you heard him say, we know the last few tournaments have been disappointing. We've been disappointed. But all we have to say is just watch this team at Worlds. We will do you proud. They lead in the series here. And as you say, with Renegade with camo and bomb control, they are poised to start this tournament off right. And unlike the rest of their year largely, maybe exit pool play in a good spot. They're already in their opponent's base here.
3 dead for TSM. Bomb already in the util. Renegade still going a little bit crazy with the camo. Snipe. SoulSnipe is going to be taken down. And the camo is still here. Remember, this camo lasts forever now. So you can play this nice and slow for your Renegade.
And as you say, Optic Gaming taking advantage of that camo timing change. And making sure
there's got to be a
once again, piece by piece, putting them together.
This is going to be it. No one is in position for TSM2. Still with the death screen. It is a perfect opening rush. And an early bomb plant here for Optic Gaming. They're already up by 1. And Renegade still had camo when he was planted that.
It was 5-0, killing spree to start the game. And it feels like somehow Optic Gaming kind of took the back door. If you go in live fire and you take the back door out of house, it actually goes right into Aquarius. And they just kept playing the same exact game on a different map. They are dominant here. What a start for Optic Gaming.
3 guns still here. Renegade will finally take his first death as Optic Gaming will fall 3 dead. A little bit of space now, at least for TSM, to move up the map. But as I say that, Taulek's actually got to wrap back to his base because Lqgend has still been an absolute nuisance to the back of his. Still alive. Finally gets taken down, but still gets the beat down just to force Taulek to reconsider his next decision, which is the right one. Turns a single kill into a double kill.
So let's not forget, Optic Gaming, yes, taking that first hill in game number 1, right? TSM did find a way in that objective game type to bounce back in the game. Not only that, and then also win the game. TSM maybe finding just a little bit of footing here, slowing the game down, and we'll see. They've got a lot of time, let's not forget. This is honestly a war of attrition many times in King of the Hill Aqua. Games ending sometimes 1-0 or 2-1.
Camo coming up right now as well, so both teams will be positioning themselves top middle to try and fight for this. Lqgend's going to slide forward, try and maybe get the burn, and he's going to do exactly that. So Lqgend, again, talking about the same kind of play, the selfless play, the one that doesn't show up in the final stats. He burns the camo, he keeps it out of the hands of TSM, and he lets everyone else have a nice time on the map.
Really impressive what I've seen from Lqgend so far this series, without a doubt. He's also double positive alongside Renegade, who's also double positive to start the game off. Now back on board with Formal here. Seeing the damage that he can deal as they push back towards their own base.
So the human UAV can really rekindle some of that magic here. And what could be the final run in Formal's career. Damage coming into Druk, multiple players. You look at that life, been damaged or finished by Formal. It's about as good as you can get from that position. And Bound now, behind enemy lines. Inside the TSM base, alongside a teammate.
They were 2 dead. Instead, slow playing this. And really, it's going to be about where can they get damage across the map for their spawners. A little bit split now.
Moving.
Bomb will be kept alive in the fridge, as you say.
TSM arming. I think a little bit shocked about where Optic Gaming are positioning themselves. It's a big fight for Lqgend to win, but win it he does.
1v1.
TSM, 3 dead, but Optic Gaming, 4 dead.
Wow.
For a second there, it was a 1v1 for the bomb, but Druk clutches up.
Unbelievable from Druk there. Had to get the kill, as you said, in that 1v1, and Lqgend maybe didn't exactly know where the sight line was going to be, but Druk keeps the team alive. You get the feeling that if they go down 2-0 here, that could be all she wrote for this series, but Druk with a very important 1v1 kill.
Oh boy, Renegade. He just found a double. And Optic have kept that bomb alive. They've kept it on the TSM side of the map. And now TSM coming off the respawn. It's only SoulSnipe and some grenades that can stop this. Nothing is going to stop Optic Gaming getting that arm once again. And now Optic double their lead. They're up 2-0, and they're looking damn good at as well.
And what did we say? There are certain maps and game types, Aqua Bomb being one of them, where Optic Gaming looks unstoppable. 4 dead for both sides for just a moment. Druk's your first player up. But how about the fact that Druk had just cleared the base and it was 4 dead? And Optic Gaming, they do not need an invitation. They fly right back at the base. They apply pressure perfectly, and they arm right away. Now just 1 arm away from closing out the series.
Make it a statement. Make it a statement to everybody who may have said, pool play's been a problem. Well, coming out with a big result against the team who are seated next to you in the pool is going to be the perfect way to remedy what maybe some of the woes and the worries of the season so far for them. Renegade gets the trade in that situation. It was another camo going over to Optic Gaming. But even though TSM get that burn, TSM needs to start winning some of these fights, because you're looking at statistics at the moment. Only Formal on the Optic side is negative. Everyone else is big positive, and Formal's only -1 at the moment.
Gotta say as well, that second bomb cushion changes the way that this game type will be played enormously. Optic Gaming now with that cushion can really afford to push up, take their chances, make sure that they're just overslaying whenever they want. They can take their time. They don't have to worry about maybe a sneaky arm changing the direction of this game. That 2-bomb cushion really is an enormous advantage here for Optic Gaming.
Now look how obnoxious they're being as well. Obviously they're looking for this 3rd bomb if the opportunity presents itself, but knowing that bomb is down on your bridge for TSM, you can't go forward. You have to turn your heads around off respawn. Wherever you are on the map, you have to make sure that objective is not going to be moved by Optic Gaming, is not going to challenge that arming position in your base, because if it does, then that's game and series done. Optic Gaming 3 dead though, as TSM will finally get that bomb at least 50% of the way up the map, but Formal just shuts it down immediately.
Yep, Formal just goes forward as well. He just picks up the bomb, starts to advance it, and right away back in his opponent's util. Mark, I think you put it best. They are playing obnoxious right now, and that's how they're going to keep playing if they need to for the next 6 minutes, and just continue controlling the map and their opponent's util.
Bomb's still down there. Optic have 15 seconds to play around.
Little touch.
Little touch from Lqgend. Moves it around, bakes some grenades out. Little threat seeker goes out as well, so TSM now on the scan. So everyone who has to move towards this bomb, which TSM have to. Now they've got the wall hacks to show them exactly where they're going.
So well done here from Lqgend. As we said, a lot of plays from him that will not necessarily appear on the stats card at the end of the game. Might have to worry about a back whack here. Cheeky little hiding spot there from SoulSnipe in the util. Finally will clear out Lqgend out of his base, and the bomb will reset. And with that, another minute ticks by. And just 5 minutes left on the clock. Optic Gaming still leading 2-0.
I think if you've got to look at a bomb reset as a win for a team, probably gives you a good indication of the momentum of this game. It has been all Optic Gaming. Lqgend starting to hit perfects as well onto SoulSnipe, keeping the numbers in their advantage. Manny taken down, Renegade with another kill to his name. He's currently 16-8. Just Renegade stats. At this point, I'm not surprised when I see him double positive. It's just ridiculous when he hits this level.
It has been. It's a different level for Renegade. He was already one of the best players to ever play the game before this late season rally that he's been putting on. But as you say, it's expected now that he will be double positive. And it's becoming less of a surprise and more of a, as you say, an expectation. He's been phenomenal, and he's 16-8 once again.
Imagine with this camo, it's been completely controlled by Optic Gaming. The best that TSM have managed to do is get a burn. Uh-oh, and again, Taulek looks left, looks right, but doesn't spot out a camoed Lqgend who wins that individual as well. The bomb's still down inside of the TSM util here. This is just so frustrating for TSM. They have to force their way into these chokes every single time just to force that bomb away.
How about the bomb and kill heat map from this game? It is a cluster of dark red in TSM's util, and that's the entire game has been played here. As we said, fantastic game management and really just strategy as well from Optic Gaming, the way they've played this. And as I said, when you take this play style and this strategy and apply a 2-bomb cushion, it becomes relentless and ruthless. TSM has been unable to fight out of it, and just like that, only 3:30 left on the clock.
I mean, you think about it from the side of TSM, right? You think about it from the side of the Optic gaming roster here. When that bomb's down in the util, how easy is it to trade? Like, you don't have to do anything crazy. Everyone for TSM has to flood in. If you avoid the initial nades that come in from TSM by positioning yourself correctly, you're gonna guarantee a trade. Like, you should be able to guarantee a trade if you're good enough. Like these Optic Gaming members are. That means the bomb is just gonna be, you just touch it once, get a trade, touch it once, get a trade, 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 trade. That means you win the game. TSM cannot progress up the map.
It becomes this quasi almost single stronghold moment, right? Where you play it the way you play stronghold, where all you want to do when you're leading is trade within the stronghold. It's exactly like you say, a double kill though from SoulSnipe, maybe a triple not gonna happen in the trade. Lqgend is your last player alive, and Taulek desperately trying to find him on the shroom stairs, and finally he'll be taken down, but not before spawners are here.
Now there is an opportunity here, a small one, a slender one for TSM. They picked up a couple of kills, they got that bomb moving. But I think the timing just a little bit off, but a bit of good luck here for Taulek. Having the beatdowns go in his favor. Allows the rest of his teammates to move in. Formal though. Couple of shots into the players progressing up those shroom stairs. SoulSnipe will find one. And Optic just got to be careful here, because you're looking at the game clock. Even though the game has been completely Optics, there's still time. Formal gets the camo, but he goes down. That was a staggered 4 dead. And the bomb is arming for TSM.
There you go.
It's 2-1, and just like that, TSM have halved the deficit and will win within one arm of tying this game up.
As soon as you said that, it felt like even though Optic Gaming dominated the way they have for the past 9 minutes of play, all it takes is a single push from TSM, and we just saw that last play as very clear evidence of that. Now it would require a Hail Mary piece of composed gameplay from TSM, but they've got 1 minute and 55 to get another arm on the board.
All of Optic trapped down low on the map at the moment. TSM certainly fighting for better positions, but Formal jumps up to clean up some damage that came in from Renegade, who found his own kill in the meantime. Formal now looking for a trade down bottom car, but Druk will come out better on that one. But where is that bomb? That's the most important thing here. And there it is, and Optic have again moved it into an obnoxious position for TSM to have to challenge. This time, it's not the util, it's the fridge side of the map.
Yeah, this time they've changed things up just a bit. Rotated around to the fridge to see if they can flush out Renegade. That's the first job. Kills will be traded though, so SoulSnipe's in a little bit of trouble and will not be in position to move the bomb. Right now it's a 2v1.
Round's gonna fly in as well. He's got the thrust again, and trade will be perfect. Even better, get the kill, stay alive. He'll get a little touch on this bomb in 1 second. No, the nade comes in, so the bomb will reset. Down bottom middle with just over 60 seconds left in this game. Optic are 2 dead, and TSM can get up the map.
Oh my, Lqgend gets away with a trade. He had a kill he had no business getting. Should have been a trade. And that is devastating here. 2 dead for the side of TSM, and Lqgend staying alive in their util yet again could pave the way for an Optic Gaming closure of the series here. 40 seconds left.
Yeah, a little bit of a scary moment for Optic Gaming. Taulek was the last alive, and he was taken down the last 10-15 seconds. So TSM are all stuck on the respawn at the moment. Camo's coming up in 25 seconds. Essentially, we're in a situation now where TSM have to be perfect. You start off by picking up kills, and TSM have just picked up 3 of them. Lqgend is last alive. Camo is coming up.
Here he goes.
Bomb is moving towards the Optic base. And TSM, who needed to be perfect, now have to just deal with Renegade. TSM have tied the game up!
Are you kidding me? 15 seconds left on the clock. After a bloodbath, look at the stats. A slaughtering from Optic Gaming. Playing the slaying game in their opponent's util, playing with their food. We're going into overtime.
It's overtime. TSM have had the bomb inside the Optic base twice. They have planted it twice. And when the pressure was at its highest, TSM are still alive in this series. I thought we were done. I thought we were calling an Optic Gaming 3-1 victory. But TSM show hard, and that's what they do so many times here, especially at the Halo World Champs.
Absolutely unbelievable. But they will need to hold off another Optic Gaming rush here. It was a staggered 3 dead, but it's a big kill coming in from SoulSnipe in the utility. He's the last player alive, and he hits a fantastic pre-nade. They take down Formal as a result. SoulSnipe, by the way, a huge spree from him to stay alive during that entire sequence. But here comes the Optic Gaming pressure yet again. And we are back here in the red utility. What can they do?
Status quo is being reinstalled here for Optic Gaming. But Manny finds a kill. Manny might find another kill here, but the thrust is good from Renegade. Can he get alive? That's the question. 2 dead for Optic. TSM should get their hands on that bomb. And let me tell you, if Optic see that bomb on their side of the map, they will be feeling extremely nervous now after what they've seen TSM do when they get the opportunity to move that bomb towards the base.
Every single player on TSM is negative here in this game, but somehow we are tied 2-2 in overtime. Somehow Optic Gaming has allowed TSM back in this game. 2 dead for Optic. What can TSM do here? Here they come.
Druk's playing info. Lqgend finds a kill. That should give Optic a little bit of wiggle room here. But 2-2. When it came to kills in those moments, Formal will give Optic the advantage to breathe here by picking up that kill as well. But Taulek saying, you know what? I'm going to keep pushing forward here. I want to keep putting pressure on these respawners. I want to be a nuisance inside the base. Renegade has to win a big, big fight. As we are tied up at 2-2 for players alive on the map once more. And Renegade's under pressure once more. Manny finds the kill. TSM are moving that bomb again.
If you're like us, you're wondering, how did we get here after the 10 of the 12 minutes that we saw? How on earth is Optic Gaming 3 dead, 4 dead in the end, with TSM applying the pressure yet again in overtime? 45 seconds left.
If TSM have got some nades here, they can flush out Optic. They are trapped in the back of this base. Druk finds one. Oh boy. TSM, you are showing us something special here. Druk from top middle trying to pepper every single member of Optic Gaming in the back of the base. But with a couple of players falling, TSM are having to slow the game down, and Taulek has the camo.
Not over yet. One more push left. 17 seconds left on the clock.
Taulek does the front jump. Taulek's got nades. Damage surely done here. They're trying to time this perfectly. They know this is the game. The opportunity. Renegade finds one. TSM can't put the pieces together. Time runs out and TSM cannot find the final push. But it means that we go again here.
Unreal. Standing room only already in series number 1 of this tournament with these 2 teams. And I don't know how. I don't think Optic Gaming on their side of the stage knows how either. After what was an absolute, as we said, slaughtering the entirety of that game, everyone on Optic Gaming was positive, dominating TSM. They allowed TSM, with 2 minutes left, to get 2 arms on the board and force us now into double overtime to decide a winner here in this game time.
Let me ask you a question. You'd rather be in the Optic seats right now or on the TSM side of the stage? Ooh. Who's got the momentum in going into overtime here?
I think deep momentum on the side of TSM. Let's look back to the last moments that we just saw. It's Optic Gaming cowering in the back of their base. And Taulek does, by the way, there's an eagle eye that happens from someone. We didn't see it exactly who it was. Someone eagle eyes Taulek front jumping with camo, which could have saved the game for Optic Gaming. We'll take a look at some highlights from that fantastic game number 4. And it felt like, as we said, it was the Optic Gaming story. Look, with 2-0 and only 5:30 left on the clock, it felt like this was long over. But not so fast, says TSM.
Really interesting to watch this final push as well, where the position of Optic Gaming, you know, we saw there were all 4 of them essentially in the back of the base, but I want to know if there was a fridge spawn, if it was players spawning in the back of the base, because the reason that TSM cannot push, if you're just watching, maybe you haven't watched Halo before, right? There's so many easily nadeable routes for you on the defensive side inside of your base, especially when you're coming off the respawn with 2 frag grenades to play with. So TSM cannot just fly into the base and look for those kills, because it's going to be easy trades for Optic Gaming, and that bomb is not going to be moving. So you could see why TSM were having to take their time. They were looking for damage they could play upon, but Optic didn't give them it. And I've got to give a huge amount of credit to Optic Gaming actually defensively, how they played those final moments. Because put yourself in those shoes, right? You know you don't have camo. You know you've just lost a 2-0 lead. You're probably thinking, if we lose the game here, I'm going to scream. And they somehow keep the composure to just hold off that final push.
The pre-nades on the bridge were so key. Eagle-eyeing Taulek with camo key. And that sends us now into, as you see on your screen, double overtime. The first bomb will win. And my God, does it ever feel like an important one here. Should Optic Gaming get this single bomb arm, they will close out the series. And they will look ahead to the rest of the tournament. Instead, if it's TSM that gets just 1 bomb arm, that will send us to a series-deciding game number 5.
And we'll get there when we get there. We'll get there if we get there. But for now, next bomb wins. Can TSM tie up the series here at 2-2, or will Optic Gaming close it out here on Aquarius bomb? Next bomb wins.
This first camo so big. Both teams knowing they cannot allow themselves to go 3 or 4 dead and a camo to be grabbed. Bound gonna be the one making a move for it. And gets away.
Does he?
Yep.
Yes, he does. So Optic Gaming, when the kills were kind of even across the board off that opening rush, but Bound makes the play for the camo, and now the kills are not even, but he gets traded out. Very important play for TSM.
Yeah.
As we just relax for a second, and we have 2 players alive on either side of the map.
You wonder, was that maybe a little bit of extra aggression that wasn't required to try to fly in the bottom middle? Oh! Big trade from Druk. He does get help, however, still an important trade. Bound is under pressure in the util. 2 dead for both sides, and you wonder here, Mark, which version of each team from that game in regulation do we get here, right? We saw both teams with unbelievable stretches of play in regulation, and the question is, who just shows up for one final push?
Good damage coming out of Bound once again, playing his life really well as well. Making sure he's not over-challenging any of these kills. Druk and Taulek find a couple of beatdowns, though, to put the numbers in the favor of TSM. Bomb is around 50% of the way up the map at the moment. Nobody really has an advantage. Optic Gaming, though, certainly do not have an advantage when it comes to kill. Formal's last alive, but gets into the base again, importantly, to give Lqgend the respawn at the back of the base. We are in the same situation as we were in the last few seconds of regulation, with TSM, with the bomb in the util, and Optic trapped in the back of their base.
Here it's all about damage. It's going to be poking and prodding, and whichever team can get the first opening damage where a player can flood in and start to collapse, that will be the difference maker. And that's why you're seeing things slow down here.
Bounce gets his thrust, will be traded out. Druk traded inside the base. Bomb is still down in the util though. And SoulSnipe is now flanking behind a couple of players. Big fire against Renegade, and the thrust keeps him in it.
How big is that? And you saw him pick up the thrust bottom middle. Bound only got 1 thrust off, so still 1 thrust here. Renegade, by the way, in overtime, he's 0-4, while SoulSnipe is 7-2.
3 dead for Optic. That's going to be a stick. 4 dead. Manny's in the back of the base as well, which means they will block the spawns. Bomb is not inside of the base, though, for TSM. But Optic are trapped right now, and the camo goes to Druk.
Druk needs to stay alive with this camo. As we said, due to the extended length of the camo, he really will have a lot of options to play with this. Needs to make sure he doesn't go down top mid.
Here comes the bomb.
Here it comes.
Renegade takes damage, forgets that Druk is at their top middle. SoulSnipe goes down inside the util though, which means Optic have another second to just stabilize, but this punishing damage from top middle from Druk is just pinning Optic inside of this base.
No trade. In the end, it's going to be Lqgend that takes down Taulek on the bridge. Would be a big trade for Renegade here.
Doesn't get it. Doesn't get it. Druk stays alive. And that's a brave play from Druk as well. A lot of players would go for the trade just to secure the kill on Renegade. He doesn't get himself in that position. He looks for the clean kill, and he wins it.
Ooh, they bait out the steps, and Druk gets taken down now. 3v3 here on the push. Here they come.
Just the nades off the respawn is constantly hurting TSM. The timing is just not quite lining up for them every single time. Taulek now makes the flank. Moves through the base. Finds 1 onto Formal. Finds 2. Onto Bound. And in the back of the base now blocks that spawn. Renegade will be taken down as well. 4 dead! 4 dead for Optic Gaming! And from 0-2 down, the nades will rain in! Optic desperately trying to stop this one, but TSM will steal away game number 4 and will send us to a game 5.
And here we go. After about 20 minutes of Aqua Bomb and Optic Gaming dominating the enormous majority of them, it's TSM that steals out a Game 4 win and sends us to a series-deciding game number 5. Optic Gaming with their backs against the wall.
Welcome to the Halo World Championships, everybody. This is the first series. This is the one we were looking forward to. And now you're starting to see why. We're going the distance in our first series here in Seattle. Game 5 is calling. And now, Now we get to talk about it.
Now, we did not want to get ahead of ourselves because we had to get here, and more specifically, TSM had to get us here. But boy, oh boy, do we have some interesting Game 5 records for these two teams. But before we get into them, we will take a look at some highlights specifically from that overtime. And Mark, I think you put it best. TSM picked up where they left off.
And the two players we highlighted ever so slightly the main slayers for their team, right? The numbers guys. Renegade had a really, really rough time in that overtime that we did see. 2-9. He ends up in this game. Taulek though, 5-5, but most importantly, SoulSnipe 11-6 in that overtime. With a flank through the P side, the blocking of the back base spawns from Taulek, I think is the difference between the pressure that TSM had in the final moments of regulation, in the start of overtime, to where they managed to convert. We are heading to the streets. We are heading to a Game 5, and we're gonna play some Slayer.
Wouldn't have it any other way. And we always knew that Optic Gaming was going to have to fight through the pool play demons all year long. But especially here at the Halo World Championship. And how about TSM to be that opponent, right? A team they have already lost to in pools this year. A team that has a deep history of extended runs, specifically at the Halo World Championship. They show up in a big way here and have done for the past few years. These four players now reunited under the TSM banner. And make no mistake, Optic Gaming is going to have to do the hard work. Now let's talk about Game 5 stats.
You've been waiting.
I've been holding on to these in the back pocket. And it is quite an interesting story. In Game 5 Slayers on the year, Optic Gaming is 4-5 with a losing record. TSM, on the other hand, 4-1. And as we said, in close Slayers, it is a similar story. Optic Gaming is 6-15 in Slayers within 5 on the year. TSM 6-3. Everything will be decided here on Slayer Streets.
Going into this series, we said we were going to learn a lot about what Optic Gaming is showing up here in Seattle. Is it a world championship Optic Gaming? Or is it an Optic Gaming who are going to have to essentially follow the same script that they followed the last couple of tournaments? For TSM, the ultimate underdog. A team who loves this main stage here in Seattle, and specifically this side of the stage as well. It is set up so beautifully.
What a way to start this tournament. I mean, we all had our eyes on this series for all of the reasons that we've been discussing throughout the entirety of the matchup, but what a way to start the Halo World Championship, to already have a game number 5, for Optic to have a rematch against TSM, to have to take them down here. And it's going to decide so much of what their bracket looks like, this single Slayer. So much riding on it. Let's talk about specifically Slayer Streets records for these two teams. They're pretty similar, with Optic with just a slight edge. Both teams with winning records. TSM is 3-2 and Optic Gaming is 5-3, so just a little bit more games played. And a small edge percentage-wise, but most importantly, we have to highlight, both teams are coming into Game 5 with winning records on this game time.
Now to start to put this into context a little bit, we get inside the head of the players, right? You look at Optic Gaming, you look at some of the most individually talented 1v1, brilliant skill expression players. Lqgend, Bound, Formal, Renegade. Let me tell you, even the steadiest shots in Halo history feel a little bit different in a Game 5. TSM will need to win individual fights. TSM will need to play the best Halo that they have played to take down Optic Gaming here. But it's one game to decide who will win this game, who will win this series, and put themselves in a fantastic position in their pool.
Once again, look at that map 5 record for Optic here, 4-5. TSM recently 1-3. We'll see which team can turn this now into a very different number, but more importantly, a series win. It's Optic Gaming versus TSM. First match of the Halo World Championship. We're underway in game number 5.
No better place to decide it than the streets. A lot of arguments have been settled over the years. SoulSnipe versus Renegade. Optic Gaming, they flood towards him, gets baited in a little bit there to the individual fight. And Optic Gaming will take that first pick and take advantage of it. Oh, Bound doesn't check his corners. It does get the trade in that situation. Camo goes into the hands of Renegade, though.
And the job here for Optic Gaming is make sure this does not get out of hand. On the CSM side, of course, they need to remember how Game 2 Slayer was played. They kept the game close, but it was not enough throughout the entirety of the game. They're going to need to make sure they, instead, on the other side, get into the lead and hold it. Right now, they're up by just one.
I mean, at the moment, TSM are panicking over the position of Renegade. You can see frantic pings coming in. You can see players turning their heads. And it's just allowing the rest of Optic to move up the map and get those first shots that they require. Even though they don't have the advantage, though, and they don't have the camo, look at the kills. They're all going the way of TSM, and Renegade can't find easy targets here. He wants a free kill to keep this camo going, and finds a double kill off the back of it. 2-kill advantage, though, at the end of this camo, still for TSM. Oh, might even get played, and Renegade! Oh my, he's 4-0 at the start of this game, and boy, do Optic need him.
Wow, unbelievable, important 3 kills, because as you said, it was just a 4-kill lead for TSM, but Renegade's slow and patient in the back of Tram. It pays off in the end, and he stays alive. However, they still trail by 2.
Now they trail by 3 as he gets picked off. Manny with some great shots himself. Bound will find another one to trade out the kill. And it's just trade for trade at the moment across the map. Everybody making sure they're playing shoulder to shoulder, that no damage will go unpunished. And even in that situation where Bound has 2 no-shielded players in front of him, TSM somehow trade the situation.
Druk taken down as well now, 3v3 on the map, and still just a 2-kill game. And Optic Gaming have tied the game here at 13.
Attention from both teams is going to go towards bottom middle pretty soon as well, as the camo will be reintroducing itself in this game 5. And the game comes to a standstill. Taulek has the red gun there, but Bound had better shots. Gets that pick for Optic and puts them into a 1-kill advantage.
Yeah, we'll see who can do this. Let's get to our first list then here with Optic Gaming in game 5.
We're looking, I'm looking.
Yeah, he's still someone.
You went back out here or something?
Yeah, watch out. Spawn in PD, I think. Tires, watch out. Which tires?
Bad left bound.
It's in tires.
0 health bound.
Tires.
I'm switching PD.
We'll get specs to purple. Purple, let's get purple. I saw him. He's still purple, by the way. He's by himself. He's hiding somewhere purple. He's on the shorty. Which one? Many. 2
dead, guys. 2 dead. Nice. 3 dead. Last guy.
Let's go driver.
Careful, Sabri.
Yo, driver. He's stuck.
Everyone dead. Nice. Okay, spawning PD. Maybe cafe bound.
I'll get to you. You're back here. Back here. I'm good. You're back here. I can play, but I'm inside. Ready, how long?
5 seconds.
Okay. John, don't come out. I don't see anything decent.
Yeah, what's purple bound?
Very weak. Yeah, the shooting. I'm good. So watch out. 3 kills. Watch out.
All
damage. He's agent and 2 agent. I need you back. Watch out.
2 dead.
Yeah, I'm back here.
Back in 1 shot, guys. Nice.
I'm getting out.
I'm red room. I got it.
Let's see one guy. Yeah, I'm killing C, man.
Okay, we're backing up.
Clear C. He might be there somewhere. Just clear it.
Check all corners.
He's nice. It's fine. We're good. Look at me. You want be stairs? I'm great driver.
All right, 2 of us are out.
10 kills, the advantage for Optic Gaming in the game 5, and it's down to this man on your screen. Renegade is sat at 10-1 in this game, and he's moments away from a potential frenzy.
Unreal just hits a stick into Cafe as well. Picks up the first assist on the second. 3 dead yet again for TSM. And Renegade may have gone 2-9 in that overtime, but is he ever making up for it in an enormous way? He's 11-1 in a game 5 Slayer.
Both camos have gone to Optic Gaming as well, controlling the most important power-up on the map, and TSM are reeling at the moment. Their knees are looking a little bit weak, the legs are looking a little bit wobbly underneath them, but can they stay on their feet here and push this game the distance?
And even though we talk about big comebacks on a match like Slayer Streets, when you're at 34-19, this is a deficit that, if you've been watching this whole series, it goes without saying. We haven't seen any kind of gap like this between these two. Somehow Taulek stays alive, and not over yet. We're only here just past the mid-game. And if he stays alive with this camo, maybe could get a rally and a few kills on the board. But TSM needs to be careful. They really cannot even afford to be trading very often here.
Oh, yeah, that can't happen. I mean, it's 3 dead for Optic Gaming. Maybe there's a chance to stagger these spawns of Optic, but trades like that, they're not confident trades, right? You're not looking to extend your lead to grab those kills back to make this a game. TSM are falling victim here to just making sure that they want to, it looks like they're just looking to maybe not make a mistake, and Optic are taking advantage. It's only 11 kills to go now for Optic to close out a game 5 and cement a massive, massive win for them here in pools.
Formal the man on your screen, by the way, leading the team in assists here. 7 assists to his name, and might only have 5 kills on the board, but has been a huge part of the damage dealing. It's 3 dead again for TSM. Optic Gaming just 8 kills away from closing out the game.
And wouldn't there be something in Optic Gaming winning a series by winning both Slayers? A lot of focus, understandably, throughout the season has been on the Slayer woes. Well, maybe they're becoming the Slayer highs for them in a series like this. Renegade tries to fly in. Manny taking him on. Manny with some lovely little jukes there under the Stalker Rifle shots. You just get the feeling, even though TSM, you can never count them out, as we learned in that previous game, this might be too much of a mountain to climb at this point.
It does feel like too little too late for TSM, even though they're capable of great things, and we've seen many of them right in front of us here on the main stage this series. Oh, but Lqgend with a fadeaway and a 1v2 is going to increase the kill count even further. 4 kills to go for Optic Gaming.
That is going to hurt, and Sabri is letting them know. Lqgend in missing shots. He is taking this game over. 48. Make it 49. He's going to win this one as well, you thought, but Taulek finally puts it to an end as Optic will put the series to an end. Game 5. Optic win. The streets belong to Optic.
It was not easy. Another pool play gauntlet for Optic Gaming, but this time, unlike Charlotte, unlike Dallas, unlike Arlington, they will take down their biggest opponent in pool play. And for now, advance on with a win on the board.
It just feels like some wins are built bigger than others, right?
Oh,
it's pool play. It's the first match of the tournament. We get that. But when you look at the history of the season for Optic Gaming, the pool play woes, where they've fallen down, they've made mistakes, they've found themselves losing early on in the bracket, fighting their way through the elimination bracket, going up against the team. There was a potential team who can steal away that first seed from you. Winning that series and winning it in a game of 5 in a tooth and nail kind of way, which is a crazy, crazy series to start things off with. That's got to feel good for Optic. That's got to be a little bit of a confidence booster for them.
Yeah, I think we knew that series was going to deliver, but I don't know if anyone was ready for it to deliver in that specific way, especially if you think about Optic Gaming fans having to already have a little bit of nerves in the front rows already, but Optic Gaming, I think they changed history, right? Not only do they win both Slayers, but they changed their records on a Game 5 Slayer. They changed the way that they played a lot of those games, and I think showed that the work has been done, especially in the Slayer department, but that they're ready to, as we said, right the ship, change the trajectory of the year right now on a heavy downward trajectory, their worst of Infinite so far. Question is, what can they do? They show up, though. They get the job done here in the first match.
And it's crazy how they win the series with 2 Slayers as well. You know, it's always the story of Optic losing in series where the Slayers are the ones that cost them, but the Slayers are looking pretty good. And one man who had a phenomenal game of 5 Slayer is on our main stage right now. Renegade is down with Blaze. And I tell you what, I'm looking forward to hearing from the man.